The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Hey guys, my name is Stacy and welcome back to another episode of The Journey. In today's podcast, I talk to creator, tattoo artist and business owner Kirby Tavita from Owing Collective here in New Zealand. He shares with me his humble upbringings, the positive impact his parents had on him, how he got into becoming a tattoo artist, and even things like how important marketing is as being a business owner. So sit back, relax, and maybe comment below where in the world you're watching this video. It's always interesting to know where people are around the world when they watch this kind of content. Also, remember to smash that like and subscribe button and follow my journey of becoming a content creator. Thanks again for watching, and let's get into it.
For the weekend, getting blinded by the lights on the rise as we cultivate the finer things in life. Hard on ice, ride the wave till we evade the sharks and escape the past. Trying to see the wasted time taper off like weight loss. Staying source with the poets, stoic under pressure till I croak. Yes, you know it is the GOAT. Only winners standing on both sides, cause when the tide lifts, all boats rise. Now look alive.
Hey bro, thank you so much for jumping on board. We got Kirby here from Owing Collective. I got that right this time here. Last time I said owning, but no, it's not owning, it's owing. So bro, thank you so much for jumping on board. How are you, brother?
Nah, appreciate you having me on, bro. I'm good, bro. Not too bad, yeah.
What's been happening lately? How's the week been, bro? What's been cracking?
Nah, not too much. I've had a few cancellations this week.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, nah, it's been all good.
So how do you handle that, bro? So does someone, how much time do they have to give you? And how do you fill that gap? Like being a businessman, bro, you go like, fuck, I need to accommodate that, you know? Like how do you fill the gap of someone cancelling?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I always like look at it like reschedules, like, cause they don't really cancel. They kind of just like want to reschedule. Oh, yeah. But I usually like give them like a day or two. Like if it's like, say like on the day, then I'll be like, nah, no more deposit for you. Like,
had your chance.
Yeah, you pay again, bro. You pay again to get in, you know. But I just kind of, it's kind of weird. Like when like cancellations happen, I kind of like it because then I'm like, finally a day off, you know, like
some rest time.
Yeah. I'll never say it. Like I'll never say I had a cancellation. I'll just be like, gonna go play some ball or something.
Okay, bro. So, bro, just to get a little bit to know about you. So, bro, just give us a little bit of history. I hear you grew up in West Auckland, so you're a West hard. So, you Kelston boys, obviously,
Cali boys.
Cali boys up in here. Bro, so just give it a bit of background about you, bro. What's been going down?
Grew up I was born in the Green Lane Hospital. I don't even know what it's called. It's like Women's something.
In Auckland, yeah.
Yeah, I was born here in Auckland, and then the family moved to Henderson, and then we pretty much grew up in Henderson up until, maybe like halfway through like Kelston, like my fifth form year, or what everyone says like years now, but year 11. Yeah, so I was up in, did all my primary school, intermediate, and out west. Went to Henderson South. Went to Bruce McLaren for intermediate. Is this cutting out? Or?
Does it sound like it's cutting a little bit? I think maybe just play around with the cable. Push the cable in the mic one. Just push that in and out. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Try that. Test that. Testing.
Is that all good?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, so I think it's copying in. See what I mean before?
Yeah. I feel like every time I move back, then it's like cutting out or something.
No, we're good now. So you grew up in West Auckland, so you obviously went to Kelston Boys, bro. How did that shape you to be the person you are? I mean, Kelston Boys was like a prestigious, particularly rugby school, right?
Yeah,
so how did that sort of mold you into the person you are today?
Yeah, bro, Kelston was like a crucial like part of my life. It's kind of like a real, kind of like molded you into like a real like man. Like you kind of like learn things in high school and also like going through like teenage like what do you call it, like hormones and stuff, and like everything starts changing, you know. You start liking girls, you start, well, I was never really in the books, but like, you know, you start like falling away from like schoolwork and stuff. But Kelston was a real crucial part of my life where I really loved it. It's only like if you're from Kelston, you kind of like understand when they like say like the brotherhood from Kelston, like, because it's like an actual like brotherhood, you know. It's like no one really has like crowds, you know, like everyone's kind of like together, like, and there's no really like, there's no real like separate crowds and stuff. So it kind of like molded me it taught me heaps about like who I wanted to become, you know, like.
Who was that, bro? Who did you want to become?
Oh, well, at that time I wanted to become like a All Black, like, you know, like
every other boy's dream. And
bro, especially when you play rugby at like a prestigious school, you know, it's like, man, I'm on my way, you know. It feels like you can almost like touch it, like, especially like when you make first 15 and then.
Because you guys won a championship too, right?
Yeah. So my year was, I don't want to say it, but we were kind of unfortunate. We lost our final in 2011 to St. Kitts, but then because St. Kitts signed up for the co-ed, like we went for the boys, so we represented boys. So then we got to go down to nationals for like to represent the boys, and then we ended up going on to win the nationals.
Yo.
Yeah, so that was like pretty cool. Like not winning Auckland was like pretty stink, but like no, that was all good.
And so obviously rugby played a big part of your life, and before creativity, you've always had that creativity space in the background just as a hobby, I guess you could say. Like your focus was rugby, right? And so that sort of took you through to your obviously teenage years and early 20s. So where did you play for after? So you left school. So did you keep playing rugby, or what did you keep doing?
Yeah, I carried on. I went up to the Harbour Comp and I played at Massey Rugby Club.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because I used to play for Glenfield.
Oh, eh?
Yeah. I used to live in Glenfield, bro.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Oh, pussy. I used to drop them off all the time.
Fuck, they haven't even got a team these days.
Hey?
Bro, they haven't got a seniors team at the moment. Yeah, got reserves, but bro, just can't get numbers.
Oh, true.
But yeah, anyway, so yes, you play for Massey for them. So do you make Mahaba or anything?
Nah, I was kind of unfortunate after school. I kind of like did all my reps in school, and then after school, it just kind of wasn't happening for me. Like I was trying to like make the teams, and just it was like injuries were kind of like slowly like creeping in, but then also like attitude was kind of like falling off, and it was like a lot of it had to do like we can get into it later, but like a lot of it had to do with like my like tattooing, like because I started like tattooing in school. I'll get like deeper into it, but like I started tattooing in school, and then like after school was when I was kind of like working and tattooing, and so there was a lot of time that was kind of like I wasn't putting my all into rugby. So then I kind of felt like that was kind of like my sign, like, you know, not making teams. And, you know, I was like, it looks like just hang up the boots, you know. And then, after Massey, I came back to the Auckland comp, played at Waitemata and Suburbs. Yeah, it wasn't really like playing to like make anything. It was kind of, I just wanted to play with my boys. Yeah. And then I kind of gave it up in 2016. Like,
so there was a kind of realization that like, fuck, I'm not going to get anywhere here. Okay, so now to start putting my energy into my creativity, or did you think? So was it ever a thought of I could just go get like a brackets normal job, or was it like actually I enjoy doing this creativity? How can I make this my job? Yeah. How did that come about? I
kind of like. The way I thought about it at the time was like I kind of gave myself till like 24, like 24, 25, like to make something out of rugby. And if that didn't happen, then like move on. And that was like pretty much the age that I was just like, oh, you know, I'm just going to hang up the boots, you know. And then like tattooing wasn't stable enough for me to, you know, just tattoo full time. So I was working like warehousing at, like just packing boxes up at Snell, and then tattooing like after work, like
in spare time.
Yeah, so that's like what I was saying. It wasn't really like I just kind of gave myself like that age, and then I was just like, that's enough. Like, you know, like because especially like as a back, like you know, like I was playing second five or number 12, and as a back, there's no real old backs, you know. Like everyone in the backs are like 25's the oldest, you know. Unless you're like a All Black or something, then like Conrad Smith, like you know, carry on. But if you're not not even making like the start at like 24, 25, then it's kind of like
too late.
Yeah.
Well, there goes that bus.
Yeah. I get ready to go overseas, cuz.
Actually, the way that could have been your journey. Like you could have gone overseas. So what made you think, fuck, I'll just stay here? Was there an ambition to go overseas or nah?
Oh, Nah, not really. I was like, I've never been that kind of person. Like, I've always been like a homebody, and I kind of like love being like home. And I always like thought, like I never thought like once I wasn't making teams, like I cut that like dream, and then it was like next dream, and yeah, that's how like tattooing was like came into the picture, and it was like, oh, you know what, like. This is going to be my All Blacks now, you know, like.
Oh, yeah, so you put the effort into it, like as if it was going to be your dream.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
so how did you then go from, you know, you're saying you're doing some part-time work, you know, like warehousing or whatever, then so how did you then just go, actually, I'm going to go all in on tattooing, you know, like what flicked that switch, bro? What?
Bro, like, I don't even know, it was kind of just like a random as like night where I was like, and this is how heaps of like my choices are made, but like I kind of just have like a day where I'll just like think about like, man, is this it? You know, is this my life? You know, and when I was warehousing, I was never really warehousing to like do that, like, you know, hard at like to go hard in that. It was kind of just like to pass time kind of thing. Like I was in kind of like a blurry stage in my life where it was kind of like, oh, what am I really doing? You know, and then I just came to. I had a day where I came to like a realization where it was like, man, I just want to like give this tattooing thing a go like fully, you know, like, and it was like once like my tattooing started picking up, then that's when I kind of like thought like if I'm booked out for like say like a month or even like 3 weeks, like then that's kind of when like that was when I knew like, yeah, no, I could just like do this on, you know, just do this full time, like, and like the more I got into it, like the money got better. So it was kind of like the money was way better than when I was warehousing, you know. So it was kind of like,
and it's something you enjoy too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking just making money off a hobby that, not a hobby, but something that actually, I enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
If I can make a living out of this, man.
But even like small tattoos, bro. Like small tattoos are still like $200, you know. And if you do like freaking one a day, like,
Bro,
you know, it's like it's all good. Like, you know, oh well, at the time I was like $200, mean, like, you know,
hard.
oh, I would have worked at warehousing and I would have only made like $150 for 8 hours,
Bro.
like.
And you work for 8 hours, eh? You know what I mean?
Getting growlings for 8 hours.
Where's that Kirby? Stop mucking around over there. Get off your phone.
I think he's sleeping in the boxes. Oh, wait.
Come on. But that's me, bro. So like so all I'm trying to the other thing with this podcast, I'm trying to inspire people to sort of follow their dreams as well. And it's cool hearing that you followed your dream and you sort of backed yourself. You know, that was one thing that you just sort of, did you need any reassurance to have a crack, or was it just like, yeah, I don't mind, I'm just gonna, you know, just like have a go and just see what happens, and if it doesn't work out, oh well, cool, you know?
Yeah.
Was it that kind of vibe, or did you sort of need somebody to go, bro, you should do it? Or was there somebody that sort of gave you that encouragement? What did it take?
I think it was just like self-confidence, like it's like for me, like, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but like I kind of just took that like leap of faith, like, and like, because I'm like a spiritual person as well, like, and I'm like I believe I'm like a man of faith. So like I really depend on, like, you know, if I am a man of faith, then why don't I take this leap of faith, you know, kind of thing. So I reckon it's just like someone can tell you all the time, like, you know, and I had people like, bro, I can't believe you're not doing this full time, you know, like, especially like the level that I was at, like at an early stage in tattooing. I was kind of already like showing signs of like, man, he's going to be something in tattooing. So like people will always be like, bro, you should just like go into a shop, you know, like, why are you working from home? But it was kind of just that, like, I think at that time was like security. Like I just wanted that security, like, and then, yeah, just taking that leap of faith, you know, like there's that saying like big risk, big reward kind of thing, you know, and that's literally how I like thought about that decision, was like, man, if I take this big risk, like, let's see if there's a big reward, you know, like, and it happened, you know, like, and it's happened like many times for me, like not to believe it kind of thing. Like, so I've always just kind of always wanted to take those kind of like big risks, you know, like, and see what happens from it, you know. If nothing happened for it, then at least you learned something from it, you know, or you should have learned something from it.
That's awesome, bro. It's not a loss, it's a learning, eh?
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Bro, I love hearing that, man. And it takes courage to have those kind of thoughts and those positive thoughts as well. Not everyone can have those positive thoughts, bro, those encouragements. And so you must have an amazing upbringing. Bro, what was your upbringing like, bro?
Bro, I had the best upbringing. Like,
because your family, you got six siblings, eh?
So mum and dad, grew up with mum and dad, both my parents. And then there's 6 of us. So I've got two older brothers, an older sister, and then my 2 younger brothers under me. Yeah, but we had a beautiful upbringing, bro. Like, there's like 2 ways to like take things. You can kind of look at it and be like, man, my dad was hard on me, or you can look at it and be like, bro, my dad was hard on me, and that's why I am like how I am. Yeah. So I always kind of looked at it like that, and my dad like honestly, like I can even get like emotional now, like talking about my dad. But he like taught me so much to the point where like things you don't understand as a kid, and then they hit you like later, and that was heaps like off my dad, like he'd always say things, and then I'd just be like, you're just old, like like.
What do you know? Hey, what do you know? You're just an old man.
Or there was one thing that my dad like said to me. This was one time I like went out and stuff and partying, came back drunk, got the meanest hiding. But like he said like when he was like telling me off, he was like, man, you forget that I was young as well. Like it's like I wasn't just born old. Like, and here I am thinking, yeah, true. I never thought that. Like I never thought this guy was young.
Yeah, those ones. So you think I just came down the last shower?
But going back on what I was saying, I had a beautiful upbringing, man. My mum was a big like influence in my life as well, because my mum is a tailor, and she loves being like presentable. She loves like things being nice and looking nice, and that's kind of how like where like my like style and like kind of I wouldn't say like feminine side, but like it's kind of what like made me like be in touch with like being like happy with that, because I look at it like, man, I got that from my mum, like I love like clothes, I love like design and that, but like because of my mum. And then my dad kind of like taught me like how to be like a man, like how to be like tough, how to be strong-minded,
hold
how
yourself
to like
hold yourself,
and it was like when I think about it now, like why I was saying like I get so emotional about it is because like you just never think about it, like like when you like stop and think like about how like your upbringing like actually was, like if you're grateful, like then you can kind of look at it and appreciate it so much to the point where you get emotional about it, and then having so many siblings. I think the best thing about having so many siblings is you kind of live like in so many eras. Like I saw my older brother going through high school when I was in primary, and he was kind of like showing us like how it is to be a teenager, before we were even teenagers, like getting us into like slow jams and
Hey, the Dex wax. Hey.
But it was like, you start acting like that as like...
Because they become your idols, eh?
Exactly.
You look up to them and you're like, I want to be like that.
Exactly. Especially like my older brothers going to Kelston, like, and wanting to go to Kelston as well. It was like, man, I'll like...
They paved the way for you,
yeah. And then like everything happening for him, like, look like watching him get into like their like style, like in that era, like... When everything was like tight shirts and school shoes, but that's the cool thing about having like older siblings. And I mean, as a kid, you kind of grow up and everything's kind of like, I hate you, it's all these like emotions. It's like,
but you love them. You'll do anything for them.
Exactly. But it's just at home where you kind of like. Yeah. I want to turn, like,
give me some.
It's like, but Dad said, no, you're not allowed to turn. It's like, like, And then you're
If you
just
know I'm out.
being the youngest one, the dad just comes in like, hey, you get out. You're like,
But then till mum comes around and mum, he did it. Hurry up, give your brother some. Yeah.
that was
But
when my
that's
mum
awesome.
was good to my mum.
But I can see looking around your studio, which we'll talk a bit more about later as well, that I can see a little bit of OCD around here. Like everything's lined up perfectly, bro. And we'll get to that as well, because there's obviously stages in your life that you've gone through to get to where you are today, bro. And we'll talk about how we connected as well, as a trippy, how we connected as well. But bro, your tattooing, you could have gone either way, like being like being Pacific Island yourself. You could have gone down that route of, not typical, but the island style tattoos. But what impact did Todd Carney have on you, bro, with his tattoos?
Man, that was like,
So the NRL player, Todd Carney,
that was like a big one, because he kind of made it cool to have it in like the rugby scene, Like when I got into tattooing, I only saw like Mexicans have cool tattoos, and that's what made me like want to tattoo.
It's more like art. Different types of art.
Yeah, that's what made me appreciate like realism or like Chicano style tattooing. But then when I saw like Todd Carney have it, and it was like, because the buzziest thing was like I used to draw myself like in school,
Just with a pen.
like just like pictures and stuff. And like when I saw Todd Carney, it was almost like, man, that's what I like. That's what I was drawing on myself. I was drawing koi fishes and dragons on my arm, and like to see him like have it as a tattoo, and especially like to be like, he was like a pioneer in his time, like especially to be that person. It was like, man, that's mean that this guy's like doing that, and then, that kind of like, that was like a massive influence in my life, because it kind of like made me think like, man, like now I can see like my boys, like, my boys that are playing rugby, like, man, I want to tattoo them and, have like pictures and stuff, because when you thought about like sleeves and stuff, you just thought about Sonny Bill,
Yeah, the Tamoko styles.
All the Tamoko styles, So it was always like that kind of stuff.
Because I think when we relate to something like Todd Carney, you instantly think, the guys that had those sort of covered in tattoos were like the gangsters, like you say, Mexicans, the drug dealers, the riff-raff, But actually, it was cool, like you say, seeing someone like that, bringing that into mainstream being on, hey, fuck, he's a successful league player at the time. So, but he's doing quite cool content, or not, he's doing cool artwork on himself, and he's not again, at the time, he wasn't you know what I mean? Sort of stuffed that up for himself. But, like he was like a successful league player, like he seemed to have himself together, but little did we know later on down the track, maybe he didn't. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, it was cool seeing a lot more artwork rather than just being on canvas or in a book or something like that. It's actually like the realism tattoos is cool, eh? And does that inspire you? Is that your sort of inspiration?
Yeah. So Todd Carney's got like the Japanese, and that's like where I started. Like I wanted to like do Japanese style tattooing because of like him. Like, well, like seeing the way his tattoo was, like, it's crazy. Even like under here, I like copied what Todd Carney had. Like, so I like got like the same kind of like flow, like under this black arm, and that's like how influential he was in my life, bro. Wow. To the point where I studied his. I used to like always when I was warehousing, we used to get the rugby league, the rugby league week. Yeah. And bro, I used to like just flick straight through, try and find a photo of Todd Carney, and then like take that page out, and then I'll be like copy it, and I'll be like drawing it, I'll be like, I think that's how you did it. Like, yeah.
It's funny how those sort of little things like that can inspire people, from completely different situations or like different areas that you'd never thought you'd be inspired by. But watching a game of league, you'd be like, yo, fuck. You're not actually watching the game too much. You're trying to watch what he's got tattooed.
Oh, bro, that's me most of the time in games, bro. I'm just worried about like people's tattoos. Like, hey, dude, did that tattoo?
Oh, that's right. I could have done a better job. Should have called me up. Eh?
Oh, hey.
But that'd be the dream. Like, wouldn't it be cool to like to tattoo like? You and I have talked about this just recently, going around to, going on a road tour and tattooing, like influential people, you know, like in terms of either top rugby players or musicians or artists or anything like that, and to create content around it.
Yeah.
We'll talk a bit more about that shortly, but the cool way that you and I connected was a out of it way.
Yeah.
So just tap on that is that like I chucked up on my Instagram stories, like because I'm wanting to get a sleeve. I'm wanting to get a sleeve done myself, and I chucked up on Instagram stories. And I've been thinking about it for a while. That I was just chilling at home, and I chucked it up on Instagram stories. And then one of my mates hit me up, saying, "Oh, you come check out Kirby," and you sent me your Instagram handle.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, yo, that dude looks mean. Like exactly what I wanted." And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm here now, bro. Come down." I was like, "Hey." And then when you told me where you were, like literally 5 minutes from my house, I was like, "Bah, this is meant to be. This is meant to be." And then I came in and caught up with my mate Chris getting tattooed by his son, which you've just taken on board as an apprentice. And then you and I just got chatting, and I just think, you know, and our connections that we've had, like, because you're looking for a content creator, and I'm looking for someone to tattoo me. And so I think it just like, well, I think we've both manifested this moment, right? So, as a business, bro, how important is having someone how important is content, bro, for you, particularly like you as or visual, right? And so, but you run your own business, so how hard or how do you think is it important for content creating?
Yeah, no, definitely, especially like in the age that we live in now, you know, like content's just like that's business now. You like, you know, like that goes hand in hand with business now. Like, and if you ain't like up with like content, then you're kind of like, you're going to get like pushed aside, you know, and then like no one's going to hear of you, no matter how good you are, you know, like, because like exposure's like expansion, you know, like if you want more, like if you want to expand more, then you got to get like exposure, you know, and that's how like, that's what I've always like thought about to, you know, like with content, I was always like, man, I need to create more content and stuff. And it's tough, like trying to, you know, like what you were just saying, trying to run a business and trying to do, you're trying to be like all different hats of the, you know, of the business. And like it gets time consuming, especially like when, like I have a client, you know, who's paying for 8 hours a day, you know, and then here I am like, oh yeah, bro, like I'm just gonna like do this, you know, and then he's like, bro, just don't want to stop there. Just wait there. I was going to do some filming in it, and he's sitting there going, I'm just paying you all this for you to fucking take photos. Like, you're paying for my time. Like, anything in that time is mine. Like, but it's like that, you know. It's
hard to think. How do you take photos of yourself? Because you ultimately want to get your name out there to create your brand, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was trying to like get my like missus to try and do that, you know, and like she's having to deal with like my stress of like, do it like this, you know?
Doing it wrong. Hey. Next thing you know, get the cold shoulder. Well, you walk home then. Cook your own dinner.
I am home. But you know, like trying to juggle all those roles is it gets too tricky, you know. And
so you haven't hit up a content creator in the past, bro? What's your been thoughts around that?
So like my plan was to kind of, well, the way I thought of it was like kind of try and make like use that as like Preston's like time as well, like you know, like when he's not tattooing, you know, then he can.
So like, Preston's your apprentice that you brought on
board.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to teach him that as well as like, cause it'll help him, like, you know, as well, like, you know, like getting good shots of your tattoos, you know, getting good shots of what you're doing and stuff, you know, it all goes back to him kind of thing. So I was always like wanting to use him, but then it was kind of like, how do you force someone that doesn't really like, you know, care for something like that, you know? So yeah, but I like going back on what you said, I never like reached out to any content creator. Like I've always just been like I'll just do it, you know, like, and I like, you know, that's why like I bought a camera, you know, that's why like I like had to like study all of that stuff, like, you know, trying to learn Final Cut Pro, you know, and it's like, man, like just wish I had the patience for this, you know, like, especially like when you watch other people, like say like I'm watching like another tattoo artist and he's got like mean content and like he does it, you know, and then I'm like, why can't I do it? You know, like, you know, but it's just like, we're just into different things, you know?
And that's why I love to come on board, bro. Like I'm passionate about content creating, bro. And so what I was thinking, like I remember that day I come and caught up in the shop. I just took some content of Preston doing some stuff, and I just quickly threw together a couple of reels, and you know, that sort of, I think that sort of got you excited as well.
Yeah,
I'm guessing,
bro.
you know, like fuck, something can happen here, you know. And so my dream is to not a dream, but like one of the things I'd love to be able to help you with is like starting a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Because I think if any brand's out there that has a business, a lot of people say YouTube is like a billboard for your business.
Yeah.
And so what it does is, like I found a cool, like a men's clothing brand called Represent. Have you heard of Represent?
Yeah.
It's an English brand. These brothers started it up, and a suggested video popped up of their background, or you know who they are.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, fuck.
Is that their documentary?
Yeah. They're 10 year.
yeah.
There's a 10-year one. I'm like, fuck, who are these dudes? I'll pause that, quickly jump on Instagram and fuck, follow, you know, then jump on their website. Fuck, these dudes are cool. Just purely because I found them on YouTube. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to have like YouTube channels. What an idea I'd love to have with you, bro, is like we just talked about before. Imagine how cool it would be. Like you've got a portable, tattoo kit and, things like that. And we just go around either New Zealand or go to Australia, or you get a message because you put so much content up on YouTube, and you get a dude come over and like see you and hit you up in a DM going, bro, I'll bring you and your team over to the States, whatever, you know? Or what would be mad as well is like you said before, I love that idea you said before, is like hiring like a cool house and we spend a week there and we just get people coming through the house, and it's a cool chill vibe, you know, like it's just to come hang out. If you want to get some artwork done, you know, you can tat them up, and it's just more creating content, creating like cool podcasts like this, getting people involved. It's just, you know, shooting hoops. Like if it's got a basketball court there, it would be tight, eh? It would be.
Nah, bro, that's the dream, bro. Like, you know, and the thing that I loved about like bringing you like on board, like and even like meeting you and like getting to talk to you, was you kind of like made me feel like I could touch that dream now, like. You know,
it's like your All Black dream you talked about before.
Exactly. You know, it was always like a thought, like, but it was never really like something physical. You know, and then once I as soon as Preston's dad Chris like was saying like Stacy, you know, it's crazy. Like I knew your name as like Stacy Tapsel, like so I was just like, as soon as he said Stacy, I was like, who? And then he was like, yeah, Stacy Tapsel, he does like heaps of like content, bro. And I was like, bro, that's how I was learning how to do Final Cut Pro, bro. It was like freaking watching how you were like doing like all the carousels on your Photoshop. Yeah, and then I was like, bro, that is crazy. Like that I was like watching, bro, I got stuck in Oz last year, and that's what I was doing like in my time, like during like the whole
learning
COVID.
how to use Photoshop.
Yeah, like trying to learn how to use Photoshop and like Final Cut Pro, and like you were doing all those tutorials and stuff. And I was just watching them thinking like, oh, this dude's like one of those city guys, you know, like, and then like watching you with like Artie, I was like, oh, yeah, he's boys of Artie now, you know, he's probably city boys, you know. And then like, hello, living 5 minutes down the road. Yeah, and then freaking Chris was like, bro, he just stays over here. I was like, what? Like, bro, he has to come here now, you know? Like, we can't be in the same freaking neighborhood and like not link up.
But for him to be here as well, because then he's like, yeah, come through. Because I don't know if I would have come just on my own accord and just like, would have been like, oh, hey, Coop, you know, like, it would have been, I don't know, would have been kind of, so having Chris was kind of the icebreaker, I think, for us. So, yeah, man, I'm just super excited about the content we can look at creating. Like, I want to try and see, my idea would be try and grow your social media, like your TikTok, your Instagram, just by doing reels, cool photos. But ultimate dream, bro, would be cool, like I was saying before, is like, how do we create getting more people coming in here, not just getting a tattoo, but people like, we do like a sit down one night, you know, like a cool, like that program, The Shop. Uninterrupted. Or, I don't know, just some sort of way that we can get creators together in a space, you know, like, or like you say, if we had a crew of us going around tattooing people, you know, or if All Blacks or any sports athletes or even musicians come to town, they know to come to Owing, you know, and just come hang out, and that'll be tight, eh? I mean,
bro, that'll be the dream, bro. Like we were talking about before, bro. You know, like we need to be doing that here, you know, like.
There's no one really in New Zealand. I'm sure there is. I just don't know if there are.
Yeah.
So
respectfully, respectfully, there's no one doing it. Like,
maybe drop a comment in the below if you think there is.
Who is doing content like that? You know, like,
yeah, that's true though. But I mean, looking around your cool like your studio is amazing, bro. It's not your typical tattoo parlor, you know, and it's far from it. It's clean lines, it's nice polished floors. You've got some amazing, you know, memorabilia around here. Like you got the Jordans, you've got the Kobe ball, bro. So talk me through this, bro. How did you get to this position to where you are today? I can imagine it's a lot of hard work, but I'm sure you had a vision and a dream. How did you get to where you are, bro?
Man, it was like I've always looked at my life as kind of like just like steps, like and a lot of those steps like kind of changed, like, you know, as I like got older and stuff. You know, being a creator and like loving design, I've always loved, like design, and I always loved like interior design, or, you know, even like clothes and stuff, you know. So it kind of like everything, like those kind of things kind of like aligned with like what I was like kind of like into, like, and then whenever I like, I've always like wanted to be like a different kind of person, like, you know, now it's like cool to be different, you know, but like back then it was kind of like, oh, why are you doing it that way, you know, like, oh, why do you want to do that? Like even like when I was working, like me being an islander, like I didn't want to do island tattoos, you know, because I wanted to be different, you know. I wanted to be their guide, like their island. Like the thing that I loved was like at the start was no one knew who I was, and like my name being Kirby is not really an islander name, so like people thought like I was this white dude that was like doing tattoos, you know. And like some people would like, when I was working at 818, people would come in and be like, "Oh, Kirby," like, and I'm like standing right there, you know. It's like, yeah, it was me, bro. It's like, oh, like,
you're brown.
Yeah, it's like, oh, who's that? Yeah, I was like, you sure? But yeah, I've always just wanted to be like different in a way where it's like, 'cause, like growing up, I always just didn't want to do the same as everyone else, you know, like. If everyone had like, you know, something, I was always like, nah, that stink. Like, you know, like trying to be like, I want to do it this way, like, you know. But it was kind of like just like an insecurity of mine, like, you know, I just don't want to have the same thing as him, you know. So when like going back on the story, like trying to get into like my own shop, like, you know, starting my own shop. I always like, because I worked at another tattoo shop, I always knew like that's not how I'm going to do it. Like, and then like visiting other tattoo studios, and it was always like, to me, it was always just kind of like clustered, you know. It was like, and I was always like, why do you have to have like so many pictures on the wall, you know? Like, for what I was doing, I was like customizing my work on my iPad, you know. Like, I never put like. No one ever like came to me and just wanted something off the wall, you know. And I was always like,
you do flick through the book. Oh yeah, I'll have that.
Yeah, exactly.
Have the
you know,
butterfly.
like how it was back then.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So and I was always like, man, I customize my work on my iPad. So I was always like, I don't really want it to do it this way, and like I loved working in those shops, you know. Like I loved working with my bros and stuff, and we're still close to this day. But it was just kind of like I just knew that I wasn't going to do it that way, you know, like.
You had a different vision.
Yeah, and when I like thought about tattooing, like I wanted to be in a place where it like made me my most comfortable, most creative. Like I wanted to stay there for as long as possible, and that's kind of like how I like built this. Was kind of like, okay, like what do I love the most, you know, like, and it's like I love like. Being like, going back to like my like upbringing, being poor, like the thing that like used to like buzz me out the most was like clean white walls. like, you know, like, because we had like, you know, like dirty ripped wallpaper and everything. And I used to like go over to someone's house, and if they had nice walls, I was like, man, you guys are rich.
Yeah,
you know, like,
You haven't got holes in your wall?
It was like, oh, you know, but like, so that was like a thing that I took, and that's why I don't have any like artwork on my walls, because it's like, bro, it's funny because like that's like my thing, bro. It's like, you can do anything in the shop, just don't touch the walls. Like, I love my walls like pure white, you know?
I can tell you like minimalism, bro. You just sort of keep it tidy, you know? I mean, you've got some dope books in here as well, you know? So you're surrounded by creativity, and I think that's what you want. I can tell your mind's not, you're not clustered, you know? You like the space. Like, you're in this massive space, but it's just you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's cool, man. You must be nice to be able to turn up to work every day in a space that's built for you, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and that's like, that's the best thing, bro. Like, an environment is like, I believe it's everything, bro. Like, you know, if you're in like the best environment, you're going to want to be there. You won't even look at the time, bro. You know, like, it'll be freaking nighttime and you'll be like, oh, hey, like,
it's funny, bro.
Know.
It's funny. I heard a thing the other day saying, a bottle of Coke, right? Like, this is a thing in America, right? It's saying a bottle of Coke was at a flea market was like $1. You know, then you go to a shop in a dairy, it's $2.50. But then you go to somewhere like what I would say is like another nice restaurant, you know, that comes up to coming to $4. You know, you go to you go to different environments, and that same bottle of Coke changes price because of the environment that you're in, you know. So it's worth whatever it's your feeling of worth is what your environment is in, you know. So if you feel like if you're in a nice high class environment, you know you're worth that much as well. Whereas if you felt like yourself, you feel like you're in a lower class environment, not a lower class, but a lower part of environment, then you might not feel your worth is that much. Yeah. But just purely because of you shifting yourself from one environment to the next increases your worth just purely because of your capability, you know, like your thought process in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's bro, and that's so true, bro. Like, and that's also why I wanted to create this space. Was like, if I'm charging these kind of prices for the tattoos that I'm doing, then I have to be in like a flash ass place, like you know, because you don't want to be getting me like, say you're getting like the best like person, and then you walk in, it's like a dungeon, and you're like, hey, like,
yeah,
I don't really want to be here, but. Yeah, that was kind of like my reasoning behind like having this like kind of studio was kind of like I just wanted it to be like one big creative space, but then also like I was saying to you before, like you're just in a flash lounge, you know, like
you said before, it's an interpretation of what's in your mind.
Yeah, exactly, bro. It's like when people walk in here, it's like they walk into my mind, you know, and it's exactly.
Yeah. We're going to start rounding it up, bro, but just a couple more questions to sort of finish us off. And so obviously you've done a lot of, you know, people over your time. Have you probably got a lot of clients? You know, I know you've got some dreams about who your number one client would be. Obviously, LBJ would probably be your man, LeBron.
Okay.
You know, like like you're saying, this could be, you know, your opportunity to become an All Black in terms of, and when I say like that, I'm meaning, you know, what your dream could be, you know, eventually going forward. So, bro, what's the dream, bro? What's the goal? What would you, if you could do anything, bro, what would it be?
Like what do I want to do, or like what would I want to be?
Bit of both, bro. Like, what's the dream, bro? Like, obviously, to tattoo LBJ or, you know, LeBron will be the ultimate goal. Is there anything else that you sort of inspired to do, bro? Or is there anything else that you sort of want to achieve? Or if you could live your dream, what would that look like?
I was telling you this before, but like having like my own like massive ass warehouse, and it's just like a conjunction of everything that I like want to do in my life. So it's like having like the clothing, like having the clothing in there, having like my tattoo studio in there, having a basketball court in there, having a gym in there, you know. And it's like, it's almost like a mall, like, you know, like you walk into a mall and you just see like all these like different stores, and you know, like that's kind of what I want Owing to be, is just like this massive ass like place that everyone's like, man, have you ever been to Owing? Like, bro, it's pretty buzzy, bro. It's like this massive warehouse, and like there's a basketball court, and then they're tattooing upstairs, you know, like. So it's like that, but then like my biggest dream in life is like to work with like bigger brands, like how we were talking about before, like with Ronnie Feig and TD Santos, like Jerry Lorenzo and all that. Like those guys like started a brand, and it was almost just like they were just kind of like these guys that were like normal dudes trying to like push their brand, but because of like connections and that, like, you know, they ended up like working with like Nike, like with Adidas, and then with all these like other like heavy hitters, and then they became like even bigger, like, and then it's almost like they've been able to live like a bigger dream because of those like kind of like their exposure, you know. And that's kind of like what I want to do in my life is I want to work with like Adidas, you know, like when I was a kid, I used to always like want to like design jerseys. Like I always used to draw like jerseys and stuff, and I always like when like going back to Chris, like when Canterbury like started doing like pictures and like for the Warriors and stuff and all the patterns, I always used to look at him and be like, I can do it way better than that, you know, like. And so like going back on what I was saying, like, yeah, I just want to like work with like bigger brands, like, you know, with Adidas and with Nike and, you know, all sorts of brands, like, and just making like Owing like big enough to where no matter who's like a part of it, you know, it's just like this one big brand. Like you never think of one dude like that works at Nike, you just think of Nike, you know, like it's like, bro, he works at Nike. It's not like he's that guy, like, and that's how that's how I want my brand to be, is like big enough to where it's like, bro, the brand does whatever we want, you know. And
that's the cool thing about Kith, you know. I mean, they do some dope stuff as well, like the stuff that they do, bro. So that's like inspiring, you know, like seeing these global brands doing their own thing, going down their own road. And I think you've had that your whole life by the sounds of it. You've never gone down the normal, you know, the normal route of anything, you know what I mean? Like you've had a vision, and like you said before, you believe in your faith, and your faith takes, you know, like you got to believe in that, and you're like, let's just have a crack and see what happens. If it doesn't work out, oh well, we learned something. But it's cool having that vision, bro. And so if you were to give someone advice, like you've got Preston as your you know, he's come on board as your apprentice. Other people are probably watching this as well, you know, listening as well. And a lot of people, you know, like that maybe look like you, and you know, like, and they will think, fuck, he looks like he's doing some cool stuff, man. What would you be advice to them, you know, like they've had this dream of running their own business or being their own creator or going in their own, you know, on their own journey, you know what I mean? What would your advice be to those wanting to do what you do?
Like going back on like confidence, like their self-confidence, like, because their self-confidence leads to like, you know, bigger things, you know, and probably like backing that confidence, you know, to be like, yeah, like let's do it then, you know, like
taking away judgment. You know, look, it's easy to be judged. You think, oh, if I fail, everyone's going to think I'm rats. But
and that's another thing, bro. Like you got it. Like I was listening to this like this dude that was talking, and he was like, if you're not failing, then you're not going to succeed. Like, so like, you want failures in your life to kind of put you in a place where you kind of like know, like, oh yeah, like I'm on my way, you know, like, and that's how you kind of got to look at it, you know, like having that confidence is like being confident enough to get back on the horse, you know, and like carry on, like being confident to when everyone's like when everyone zigs, you zag, you know, and being like backing yourself in that those kind of, what do you call it, like situations. And that's why, like, I reckon that confidence, like I always say this to Preston as well, like confidence can change so much about a person. Like we just saw that, like the untold stories about that, you know, the NFL player, and how like in college he was the most confident person and everything was going right for him. As soon as his confidence fell off, he was like this nervous dude that was like, where was the guy that was in college, you know, and was like...
Didn't believe in his abilities, As soon as he hit the NFL, it was like, I don't know if I deserve to be here.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He
lost that confidence, bro, you know, and like, that's probably like the biggest thing that I, like, what we've been talking about is like, bro, just back yourself, bro. You know, who cares? Like,
What's the worst that can happen?
oh, right. And like the way I always like think about it as well is like, bro, it's you. Like, you know, like if I'm hating on you, like you're the one that has to go through like getting yourself back on the horse, like succeeding, failing. You know, it's all like personal. You know, like those haters are not there with you like when you're like trying to do things. You know, so you always got to look at it like, bro, it's me, like it takes me to like change, like instead of like having to worry about other people. Like your mates are not going to be there when you get there, you know, like yeah,
that's the thing, bro. Like you said before, is that a lot of your mates, not a lot of it, some of your mates are like, just do this, just stay here, just do this one here, bring, like sometimes it's the closest people to you, they're trying to bring you back in there. It's because I think they're insecure with themselves, that they could either be jealous or they're trying to think that they're doing the right thing for you. They don't want to see you be hurt, but really they can't see your vision.
Yeah.
And if they don't understand it, because they don't understand what you do or what your vision is, they're like, oh, bro, that sounds ratchet. What do you want to do that for? Because they don't understand it, they dog on it. Hey, you know what I mean? And that's where tall poppy syndrome comes in New Zealand.
Yeah,
New Zealand's got one of the worst rates of that. And I talked this with Artie about that, and he explained it so well, bro, is that it's a sad thing here in New Zealand that we do have a poppy syndrome, and I wish we had more people like yourself and your beautiful family that encourages, you know, to try different things and to try and just have a crack, man, because one of the biggest things you don't want to live with is regret.
Oh, bro.
I remember I've heard a lot of people that do live in regret because they didn't, you know, I'm one of those people, bro. I wish I traveled more when I was younger, you know?
Yeah.
I look back now and go, I wish I traveled more, man. And it's kind of frustrating, you know, because you can't get that time back, but you can also go forward. But you don't want to be that dude that lives in regret and go, man, I wish I had didn't listen to my fam or, you know, close people. I just wish I had a crack, and who knows what had taken me, you know? What's the worst that can happen, You know, so.
That's facts, bro. Like, but there was a saying that I like saw, and it was like, if you think the price for success is expensive, wait till you see the price for regret. And bro, that hurts. See, like when you think about that, you're kind of like, oh, maybe I just do it, Like,
bro, what have we got to lose?
Exactly, bro.
Anyway, Kurs, bro, I love this conversation, bro. I hope I'd love for this to be a regular thing, bro.
Yeah, bro, definitely,
just
bro.
do that. So, thank you again for your time, my brother. It's so good to connect
brother.
with you, bro. So, thanks again, and see you then. That's us, bro.